What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and we all know LeBron James, LeCarron James, is a moron. We know he does almost no research on just about anything, but is one of the biggest whiners in the world. A man who many say ruined the NBA. Not say they're here nor there for me. The NBA ruined itself by bending the knee to China, to me, just like LeBron James likes to do. And you know, he's all up in arms about a sportscaster misspeaking, but he's fine having, you know, people who are held against their will make their sneakers. And we've seen many times where, LeBronda is, having some sort of Karen moment with, a police officer, for example, that saved a life. Remember that officer that saved a life? Well, LeBron James tweeted out, accountability now. He tried to get that cop, maybe it was unintentional. Maybe LeBron didn't say, hey, I want to bring, terrible things upon this police officer's life. But he could have got the guy ended for just doing his job. No sponsor in this video, by the way, but it is January, and January, February, and March are really garbage here on YouTube. I do have a favor to ask. It's Friday. If you're watching this video, here's my Tim Pool video from earlier today. There's a join button down below. It's just like subscribing on Twitch. And if you are in a position to, please consider clicking it and joining today. It goes directly to supporting the channel. And hey, if not me, maybe you want to prefer to consider some smaller creators. Obviously, that's awesome too. But if you're in a position, I'd just like to remind people that it's here, and I would really appreciate if you joined. Now, LeBron James goes after announcer for, quote, insensitive trigger comment. On Wednesday night, Kevin Porter Jr. of the Houston Rockets, don't care, knocked down a three-pointer with 0.4 seconds left in the game to defeat Washington. So he hit a game-winning shot, okay? The game-winning shot could have been the story, but it was the reaction by a member of Wizards broadcasting team that stole the show. On the replay of the shot, the Wizards broadcaster, Glenn Konsner, made a comment that immediately set social media on fire. Why? Because of LeBron James. Hold on a second. We'll get to it. What a well-designed play, Konsner said. You got to give credit. Kevin Porter Jr., just like his dad, pulled the trigger right at the right time. The problem with the reference to Porter Jr.'s father is that Brian Kevin Porter Sr. spent 4 years in prison for ending somebody, a 14-year-old, and then ended up receiving a lead injection himself in 2004. So seemed like a very bad man to me. I don't know the specifics of the case, but I do know that this kid isn't around anymore because of his dad. Now, if he had meant that, whoo, savage burn. Savage burn. Now, the sins of the father do not translate to the son, and obviously that would be extraordinarily inappropriate in the NBA setting, but he didn't actually mean that. He confused him with another, he thought his dad was somebody else. That didn't stop LeBron James from trying to ruin this man's life, which we're going to get into. According to USA Today, Porter Jr.'s father, Brian Kevin Porter, pleaded guilty for ending somebody who was just a kid. Don't care. Now, Konsner's comments was met with immediate backlash on Twitter, including from Los Angeles Lakers loser LeBron James. Oh, he thought this was cool, huh? Nah, we ain't going for this. Sorry, but this ain't gonna fly. How insensitive can you be to say something like this? Beat it, man. I pray for you, but there's no place in our beautiful game for you. He's trying to get him fired. Like, there is literally no other way to put this. There's no room in our game for you. What he's saying is, I demand, I am Mr. LeBronda, and I want this man fired. That's what he's saying, right? And except, again, another embarrassing mistake. Because Immediately following the call, many wondered whether Konzer was referring to the former NBA player Kevin Porter, mistakenly believing him to be Porter Jr.'s father. Kevin Porter played in the NBA from 82 to 83 season after being drafted by Baltimore in 1972. Konzer confirmed this to be the case on Thursday, apologizing to Kevin Porter Jr. for the mistake. I want to sincerely apologize to Kevin Porter Jr. and clarify. Please allow me to take this opportunity to sincerely apologize to Kevin Porter and his family and the Rockets for the comments I made during last night's game. I mistakenly thought that Kevin was the son of former Washington player Kevin Porter and was unaware that the words I chose to describe the game-winning shot would be in any way hurtful or insensitive. I've reached out to Kevin to personally apologize and hope to be able to talk to him soon. So all he did was make a simple mistake about who his father was. Now, here's the thing. Some people might say, well, he knew, and that's why he said it. Is it possible? Maybe. But even if he knew it, and then he said that anyway, made a reference to his dad, who is a horrible human being, was a horrible human being, it seems extremely unlikely that he would be willing to throw his whole career away to get that dig in, unless he had some sort of like relation to the kid that was on the receiving end of his mistake, as many people say. Now, Porter Jr. himself was suspended for one game on Monday for conduct detrimental to the team, missing a game against 76ers in January. Obviously, an obvious mistake. But LeBron James wants to go out and get this guy fired. I mean, really? And most of the people, but China is still cool, huh? But how does what's happening in China affect you? How does what the commentator said affect you in any way? I mean, there's tons of backlash in his comments. And obviously, this was just a misspeak on the commentator's space, on the commentator's words. Simple mistake. And no, absolutely no way the commentator was talking about KPJ's actual dad. There's a ton of people in LeBronda's own replies here that are like, dude, no, he just thought the other guy with his same name was his dad. Okay. On top of that, Enes Kanter Freedom, newly minted American citizen, has now said that LeBron's teammates have turned on him and told him to turn the heat up on China. Enes Kanter says now this guy's I think Boston Celtic, says a teammate of LeBron James told him to keep the heat on the Lakers superstar. Kanter Freedom appeared on the Fox News show Will Kane podcast and said that he was privately encouraged by one of James's teammates to keep speaking out about the controversial partnership between the NBA and China. One of the teammates that LeBron had come up to me and said, dude, keep doing what you're doing. What you're doing is great. Don't give up. I was very shocked. I thought he was going to be like, dude, stop talking. He's going to try to defend LeBron, right? He's like, dude, do not stop. When there was a hubbub after Daryl Morey, then general manager of the Rockets and now of the Sixers, tweeted to free Hong Kong, LeBron James criticized him for it. Remember that? Daryl Morey made one of these statements. You know dang well if a player made a similar statement and caused such poor ramifications for the league, there'd be some sort of league recourse. Gulp, 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 gulp. China flavor. James reportedly said in a private meeting that included an NBA commissioner, Adam Silver. So he was probably whining. He probably wanted him fired too. According to ESPN, James added that there would be repercussions that the player would have to pay. Potentially, this tweet could cost the NBA hundreds of millions of dollars. So what? Like, of course, you see Enes Kanter back in November, money over morals for the king, calling out LeBron. Sad and discussing how these athletes pretend to care about social justice. They really do shut up and dribble when Big Boss China says so. Did you educate yourself about the slave labor that made your shoes, or is that not part of your research? So his own teammates are calling him out for being a Chinese shill. Other players in the NBA are calling him out for being a Chinese shill. I am 100% here for it, and I appreciate all of your support. hey, if you aren't in the position to join the channel, please do consider at least subscribing. That's free to do, and that also helps an absolute ton. I know it's annoying, but it's January, so I gotta rally the troops for January, February, and March. I really, really appreciate all of your support, and we'll talk to you again real soon.